Hey everybody, it's Ed. Today's video is going to be a retrospective of, well, live concert LPs, albums, records, whatever you want to call them, that were released by Elvis Presley during his recording career. Now, when Elvis's career started, well, back in the 1950s, but when he signed on with RCA in 1956, they released a bunch of singles, EPs, and then eventually his first LP. And they, back in that time, did not release anything on record that showcased Elvis performing live in concert. Now, when I say live in concert, I mean in front of an audience. Because back in the day when Elvis and his band recorded, it was a live performance, meaning that it was the three guys or four guys in the studio, Elvis, DJ, Scotty, and then eventually DJ. And basically they would play through the song live until they got a take that they liked, and that was it. So everything that you hear on record from the 50s is basically a live performance, okay? But I'm talking about a concert performance in front of a live audience. So they did not start releasing, when I say they, I mean RCA, did not start releasing live concert performances until 1969 performances. This album actually came out in 1970, but we'll get into it. So I guess a brief history of Elvis's concert performances is, of course, in the 50s, he was touring nonstop, and then he got drafted into the Army. And then once he got out of the Army, he didn't do concerts anymore. He did a couple of TV appearances. He did a benefit in Hawaii. It was in 1961, which RCA never released. Well, they did eventually release it, but it was after his death, okay? But we're going to look at the albums that RCA released during Elvis's lifetime, which showcased live concerts, all right? And this was the very first one that they released. This was a 1969 concerts from the International in Las Vegas. And if you were not able to go to Vegas to see Elvis, because Elvis did not start touring yet, I believe until 1970 is when he started hitting different cities, okay? But, you know, if you were not able to get to Vegas to go and see Elvis in 1969, in 1970, this was RCA's answer to the fans. And this is what the fans could listen to. So this is an original press from RCA. I'm not going to do this with all the albums, but it does have the original inner sleeve. All right? And it is on the orange label. It's in good shape, plays nicely. And this also was released as a double album, where the other album was Elvis Back in Memphis, which I mistakenly in my other video called Elvis is Back the other day when I was doing my favorite albums. Right, but this is the very first RCA release of a live concert LP, and it's not a full concert, it's just a selection of songs from one of, different performances from the 1969, I believe, August engagement in Vegas, his opening engagement. So that's that. Right, then from there, we are going to go to, again, 1970 release, February 1970, On Stage. So this was the next concert release of Elvis performing songs. Now, in the first couple of albums, it was good because there were really no crossovers as far as the song selection, which was good. That started becoming a problem later on. All right, but great album. Love this album. Love the songs on here. Has my, I think it's safe to say my favorite Elvis song ever is on this album, which is The Wonder of You. And play this album immensely. Love it. So if I included live albums on my top 10 list, this would have definitely made it. And something else would have gotten kicked off. I don't know what. All right, I am going to add this onto the list, even though it's not technically a live album, but it was the companion release to the movie That's the Way It Is, which was basically a concert documentary type film. There are more studio tracks on this album than there are live performances, but there are, I believe it's 4 live tracks on here, concert, from 1970 Vegas performances. So, great album, definitely my top 3. All right, and then the next one, this was 1972, Elvis at Madison Square Garden. And this was significant for my parents because this was the first and only RCA release of a concert that they actually attended. They were at all 4 shows, and this is the Saturday evening performance. July, was it July? No, August. Oh God, nope, June. June 10th, 1972 at the evening show is when this was recorded. I believe it is the full concert. I don't think anything was cut from here. And great album, you know. So again, my parents basically were at this show, so this was the first and only album that they released, RCA, you know, where they were actually at that concert. Great. And then this one, we have Elvis Aloha from Hawaii, and this happens to be a promo copy. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's an indentation up there. I think that you can see it there. All right, but this has the sticker attached to the top, the quad sticker, and I believe it's the first pressing because this was before they listed the songs on the back of the cover. So, and also it doesn't say quad underneath here. All right, but Aloha from Hawaii, what can you say about this album? 1973. Phenomenal concert. And again, there were quite a few songs on here that weren't repeats as far as what's, you know, what could have been. A lot of overlaps, if you will, of the same songs that were performed. All right, and then next we have another 1970, this actually, no, not another. This is a 1974 release, all right? Elvis recorded live on stage in Memphis. And this album, this concert is phenomenal. It's not the full show. However, in recent years, they have released the full show on multiple releases. But a great album nonetheless. This one is also a not-for-sale promo copy. I don't know if you can see the indentation. Let's see if I can get you to see it. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe you're seeing it, maybe you're not. But just phenomenal album. Love this concert. Sounded like he was really having a great time. His voice is in great shape. Same thing with all the concerts so far. And it's the same one, just in a quad release. Unfortunately, I do not have quad equipment, you know, to play this properly, but this album is immaculate and meant. All right, and I kind of have to show this, even though it's not truly a live album concert, but it's the talking album. Anybody who watches my videos, you pretty much know how I feel about this album. If you don't know how I feel about this album, no sir, I don't like it. It stinks, and I don't like it. It's just fucking horrible, but I gotta mention it. So there's no music on here. It's just Elvis fooling around with the crowd. And that's really it during his lifetime. And then, unfortunately, once he passed away, they did release this, the Elvis in Concert double LP. All right, and this was, you know, it was a good release for the time. One thing that I really didn't like about it was the cutting in of people's comments in between songs and things like that. They really should have just, you know, left it with the music. But, you know, it was a creative choice at the time, and I guess they did it as a tribute. I really don't know, but that could be the case. All right, but these are the albums that were basically released during his lifetime, with the exception of this one that showcased Elvis concerts. And I like this one. I think this one's good. Hold on, I'm gonna try and take my thumbnail. Ready? All right, let's see if that happened. But yeah, so what can you say about these albums? They're, you know, for the most part, they're really, really good. What would my favorite be out of these? I don't even know if I could pick one. Like I said, I like On Stage a lot. I love Madison Square Garden a lot. I love this one a lot. I love the International one a lot too. So I really like them all. Each one has specific songs on there that I really gravitate towards and want to listen to. So good stuff. All right, now, since Elvis's death, of course, there have been many more live concerts that have been released in their entirety by RCA, by FTD, and by multiple other labels as well. All right, so probably the next video I may do may concentrate on RCA concert releases post-death. Not sure, still working this out. We'll see what happens and what I can come up with. All right. One thing I do know is I desperately need a haircut, so don't be surprised if you come back to a future video in the not so distant future where my head is just going to be shaved, because I don't know how much longer I can keep doing anything with this, because it's going to get out of control. It's starting already. But it is what it is. And if that's the worst thing I encounter, then I'm grateful. All right, but everybody, I don't know what else to say. I hope everybody's staying safe. Appreciate you watching. If you'd like, leave a comment. As always, good to yourselves, good to each other, and take care.